problem.
Wasn't that like caveat subscriptor or something, like signer beware or something? Like you just...
Yeah.
Do you guys have that? No.
Yes, but I'm not sure what the Latin would be.
I've been brain my Latin today, as the people on the last call will tell.
What would the Latin be for what?
Signer beware.
Caveat subscriptor.
What is it?
Caveat subscriptor, signer beware. I think it's...
Oh, the signer. I don't know. I used to teach Greek and Latin. I'll have to think about what that would be.
Caveat subscriptor. It's a Latin term. Or let the seller beware. And in legal language, it refers to the...
Emptor is the seller. Caveat is the subjunctive of cavio, be careful.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So Google's wrong. Okay.
Yeah. Google said.
Okay, guys, let's jump into it. It's Friday. Right. So we're going to do the normal format of checking in with everybody. Hopefully we've made some progress, and maybe some people will be ready for testing next week, which will be exciting. And then we'll go into blockers and see if anyone has any action points. Confirm that everyone has action points going forward. And then just a general update. Okay, so I'm looking at Aubrey's the first person on my screen. So that's Aubrey and Matt Millward. How are you guys doing? I know that there was a question about the marriage without delay that was resolved. Where are we at now?
So we're doing pretty well, I'd say, for like our first week. The form goes all the way through, but I think we have, we'd like to ask maybe for some help if someone could lend us a little time. I think we're at the end of our ability to function and make little edits alone in the code and just work out a few things. Because it's it's just all, because it's all basic questions, I'm having trouble editing the actual text of what's in there, because there's not many questions actually in the code that we can see. And I'm just not sure. I don't want to mess with things that I shouldn't be messing with. And we don't get a preview before the signatures, things like that. And I just don't even know where I'm supposed to be looking.
Okay.
Not sure about preview, but it sounds like I can take some of that stuff on.
Do you have capacity to do that?
Popsicle. Huh?
Do you have capacity to do that?
I think so.
Okay, well then can I ask you guys to just liaise offline?
Yep.
And maybe you can get that done sometime today, maybe Monday.
Message me.
Thank you.
Michelle, she, her.
Great.
Okay, next up is Nick and Jack.
Yep, so we have a really simple form. So I think we actually finished basically the code of the form. So we just really have issues, or we just have to move on to SME review and really touch on exactly what we're going to ask here and how to ask it. But basically with the code, it is coming up how we want it, and it's working that way. We just have to get the placeholder text and questions to really match what we're trying to ask. So meeting up with someone like Kate or Caroline would be great next week to just run through what this form actually is.
I'm tracking down. You guys asked me a question about the signatures, and I'm tracking down. I'm in line to talk to a couple attorneys at CPCS.
Thank you so much. That'd be awesome.
So I did talk to one attorney, but she goes, "Oh, I just sign. I just get people to sign it and send it in." I said, "Well, you're a lawyer, right?" I said, "We really want to dot our I's and cross our T's here." And Kate and the family law ones. Can you share the general motion with me? Is that I can look that at Trello. Never mind about the affidavit of service, a certificate of service. I just need to language.
That's the one that Mia, Jack, and Vinny did, right?
Okay.
They did the generic family law.
Right. So I can find that on. Are these things on GitHub now?
No.
I put mine there for you, Caroline.
Thanks, Kate. I don't think they are yet. Is that a step that we should add to the workflow?
I think that would be a good idea, partly to get people to practice GitHub. I mean, they could do just what Michelle showed everybody how to do last week, is everybody could make a package of their code. Would that be, no? Okay, never mind.
If they based it on MA virtual courts, that's more complicated. That's what we were talking to Jonathan and Quentin about in the thread.
Oh, okay.
So
I'll stay out of that then.
I
was just thinking I could hop in there and look at what people are doing.
You can. They can push to their own branches, which is something that I might be able to show people, maybe in individual groups or maybe in a workshop, or what is it, an office hours or something.
And if people do that, then they could put that wherever it is in GitHub, they could put in the card, right?
Yeah.
For the form.
Yeah, in the Trello.
So they are currently the general practice is that people are uploading their YAML, and if they've changed the PDF, they upload that to the Trello card as well. So for now, you can just have a look there, Caroline. But I think that it is a good point that we do figure out how to push their own branches. That's going to be a conversation that we need to have before we give anyone directions.
I actually suggest that if we're going to, anyway, that's another discussion.
Okay, sorry,
we can discuss that later.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to find quick ways to look at things. That's all. It's my being lazy.
So Trello will be good for now, I think.
Trello, yeah, just search generic.
I'll do that.
Or Pastebin, pastebin.com. Look up that.
Okay, so then,
people have to use it though, right? So
yeah, I'm just saying if you're talking to someone, right?
I
can be a way to share the code.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Nick and Jack, can I leave you to talk to Caroline about and kind of have a look at those questions and figure out, what you're actually supposed to be asking and stuff like that?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so you'll liaise offline.
That works.
Okay, good.
How's
your first week been, Nick?
It's been good. Yeah. It's been really
I feel
good.
like you're learning a lot.
I am. I'm excited to talk to well, now I have a feel for like what's happening. It's like, I know that sounds generic, but like what's the whole, I think what I can say is like the whole process and looking at it and like being able to like fit it together into what the end product's going to be, and from beginning to end, it's exciting. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Sinead and Finola. Where are you guys at?
For the most part, we are ready for testing next week. We had a bit of trouble today with just which course kind of was coming out at the end of our document. I had a quick call with Quentin, and I think he's looking into it. There seems to be a bug. But other than that, I think we've kind of done everything we can, and we're good to go with testing next week.
And you've done SME review, am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, we did that with Kate.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kate. Jeez, Kate's been, I don't know how many hours you have in a day, Kate. Kate's like a fully functioning lawyer and a fully functioning SME here, and it's just great. Thank you. Okay, so what we'll do is we will set up a time. I'm going to go through the rest of the teams, and perhaps we can bundle, we can have like a group call together with the people that will need testing. So just action point will be join that group call. And if it's not a group call, it's just going to be us and perhaps Mia and Vinny. Okay, so then I'm looking at Mike and Tyler.
Okay, so we're done with the interview, done putting the docx together, so ready for the next step, whatever that is.
SME review.
Yep.
And can you remind me what your form was again, please?
It's a motion to vacate default judgment.
Who would be the SME on that? Not Kate.
Not me.
Not Caroline, no?
Do you think
If it's the housing default?
Default judgment in housing or
Housing. Yeah, it's the housing. So I think this is Quentin.
Quentin, unless we find another unless we want to identify another housing.
Yeah.
Is Laura? Is Laura Kamara? She housing?
She's housing. I think she's housing, isn't she?
I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a note.
Knows housing pretty well.
Sorry,
Matt knows
yeah,
housing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why don't we reach out to both Matt and Quentin's not on this call, right?
Yeah, Matt's consumer. Is he doing housing?
Matt's done a fair bit of housing.
Oh, yes. Okay. Also, yeah. Okay.
So what we'll do is, Mike and Tyler, I'll figure out who the SME is that you should be talking to, and then I will drop you a Slack and you can arrange a call with them. Perhaps on Quentin. Like speak of the not
We
devil.
avoided mentioning your name until 30 seconds ago, Quentin.
Yeah. Like he knew. We were just saying that Tyler and Mike have finished their motion to vacate default judgment in the housing area. So the next step is SME review. So we were just talking about who would be the appropriate SME for them to contact. Might it be you? Do you have capacity?
So I could be a reviewer, but it's good to have another one. I think we should find another housing reviewer now, perhaps.
Laura, people are suggesting Laura.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say too. I know she's busy with a lot of things, but she had originally volunteered to be that for this project, so she might be able to do it still.
Okay, well, I'll reach out.
We could also ask Gordon.
Oh yeah, Gordon would do it. That was specifically the thing he had suggested. He would be able to impress me. I haven't asked him yet.
He's a super cool housing attorney.
Sorry, I meant what's his surname?
Oh,
Gordon Shaw.
SHAW.
Okay, I'll reach out to those and then I will tell you guys who you're supposed to be liaising with, and hopefully you can get that call on Monday or Tuesday and then move on to testing. Okay, James, can you speak for your team quickly, please?
Yeah, so we met with Quentin this morning and we have like one more thing we're working on, but we're confident that by this time Monday we'll be done.
Great.
Exciting. Does that mean done and ready for testing?
I think so, yeah, because we did the SME review already with Kate.
Okay, so then what I'm seeing is that James's team and Sinead and Finola will be ready for testing on Monday.
I also think the motion to vacate the marital home is probably ready for testing.
Okay, so that's 3. Okay, so we can schedule a call for testing on Monday. I'm just wary of Finola and Sinead's time zone differences, so if we could perhaps have that call.
It might be good to have like a group thing for writing scenarios, since everybody's going to be learning to write.
Is that not what this is going to be?
I thought that was the suggestion.
Sorry.
Okay, so that's what this is. Sorry, I wasn't clear about that. But I think that maybe a 10-minute overview of how testing works in the overview, because people are going to be coming in kind of blind. So it would be nice to see how it all fits together. Like to Nick's point about how it was nice now to know how everything fits together. I think it's quite beneficial for people to see that, the bigger picture, before going into just writing the scenarios. So the people who will be coming on that call probably will be Finola, Sinead, James's team. That's Jack, James, and Eleni. And then perhaps the marital home.
Team. I need a refresher on testing stuff.
Oh, and Kate. Okay, so
it also might be worth filming, do we think, for people in the future?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Okay, so maybe we can try and schedule. I'll liaise with all of you guys and try and schedule that call for Monday. Obviously, being aware of Finola and Sinead's time difference, it's now like 5:45 there. So, and we have a management meeting, and we've got a testing meeting on Monday. So, I think that perhaps like 11:30, if James's team could get ready by then. I'm not sure. Even if you're not ready, it might be a good idea just to jump on and
be ready.
Sorry?
We always meet early, so we'll be ready.
Oh, good. Jeez. You guys are okay, so 11:30 is a rough time, and then I'll just reach out to you guys and confirm that. Hey, am I missing any teams? Mia and Vinny, the first scenario writers, they have done a fantastic job getting through kind of coming up with a new way to write scenarios, improving on the original process. And I've had a look at what they've done. And there was just one question I had, otherwise it looks really good. And I'll show it to you guys on Monday. So that's I think the next point for you guys is to just join on that call on Monday, and we can kind of figure out where to go from there in terms of test template. As I said, we're having a testing team meeting on Monday at 2. So we will be figuring out like the finalizing everything then, and from there we'll be able to figure out the next step. Anvita is going to be joining us on that because she's going to lead us in the way in testing. And I think that's about it from me for today. Do we have anything else that anyone wants to add in?
So I'll just share some of Quentin and I were having a conversation earlier about sort of like sequencing, and we think that there's the time that we share things with the court is probably sometime after testing starts, but before you're 100% through with testing. So once we have something that basically does basically once you get through the testing process to the point where you think you're more certain than not that it's pretty much tacked down, then we can share it with the court for them basically to do their testing. The point is we don't want them to come in at the very beginning when there still might be a lot of bugs or something, but just for expediency's sake, we don't want to wait till the very, very end till we're sure everything's buttoned down. So it's fine to be able to take it. We want something we can give to them. They can go through it, have pretty much without edge cases, probably have the experience that's going to be the experience, and then be able to give us their feedback.
And what they're probably going to be looking for is the final output. Does that look right to what they want? And is there maybe like inappropriate guidance that we're giving in the questions? So if it's like basically feature complete and it will run through, that's probably the standard to me, because they're not going to be doing exhaustive path testing. We don't want them to randomly run into a bug, of course, though.
The other thing to say is that David posted in the channel about DockerCon, which is a really cool opportunity for you guys to learn some more. I would say probably the Friday, is that right, Quentin? Would be a better space.
Yeah, so I'll be doing the sessions on Friday, and I will probably, to be truthful, use some of the content that we did in this class already in the training Tuesdays.
You should. That's what it's for, right?
Tested and vetted. So, but yeah, it's another chance to get practice with it and to ask questions and interact with other people who have questions. I'm gonna we have 100 people signed up almost right now. I don't think that we'll have 100 people there, but if we do have something close to that, there'll be some good chances to go into breakout rooms with other people who are doing this work professionally around the world.
That's 2 weeks from today, right?
Yep.
And there's going to be a mix and mingle on Friday as well. So
yeah, that's something you shouldn't miss. And then there's going to be a group session that Jonathan is doing that I'll be helping out with, which is good because we've touched on that, and it won't be like so advanced that you can't do it if you're a beginner, but there's lots of depth to it. So I think that'll be really interesting for people too.
Oh yeah, so just have a look at that link in the assembly line channel.
And for context, Jonathan's the creator of DocAssemble.
Right, so that's about all. Does anybody else have any updates that they wanted to share or any questions that they had?
Can I ask about the multiple signature thing again? Okay, I'm going to move this over here, so I'm actually looking at you. So when we file using our project, we can email to the court. I mean, can we email and serve at the same time? Do you know what I mean? Like put in more than one email. So file and put in, say, the defendant's, the other party's attorney's email address or the other party's email. Can we do that?
So be serviced by email. That's a good thought.
Email service is proper right now to counsel, but not to pro se's, I think, with COVID. And it's not normally proper to counsel without consent. But I think the rule says, and I don't know, it's possible it's probate court specific, but I think it's proper to other attorneys now.
Yeah, I think it's a general rule that's just until the emergency is over, though, which could be interpreted as being June 30th, I think, right now. That part of it, of the rule exception. But we don't offer a way to do that right now, to do service.
No, not service, but don't we offer a way to put in somebody's email address?
Yes.
So that's not technically service, but if you email them.
Yeah, I guess the question we have to figure out is that's obviously super convenient if we can do that for people.
Well, particularly, I'm thinking with this CRA form that Jack and Okay, tell me who's working on this. Who's the one I'm looking at? The
Nick.
form I'm looking at, the CRA motion to dismiss.
Jack and Nick.
It is Jack and Nick. Okay, right. Yeah. So that, right. That's the thing I'm waiting to hear back from CPCS on. But it would be so cool because the thing says I have served. There's an affidavit of service at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think usually you want to have done it before so that you actually can make the attestation.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So that's the
and the one drawback of our system is, well, I'm not sure we want to take on the weight of the service.
So maybe this would be the thing that you would download. Another one that you would download.
Or you would email it to yourself and then you could use the thing we have to email it to
That's what I
yourself.
mean. Yeah.
And then you send it off and you're like, okay, now I've.
Right. So, but we're not going to be, we won't be filing it for people. Yeah.
Well, we could still file it as long as they've sent it beforehand.
Then they'd have to create an account, come back to it, come back to it, right?
You could, or you could do it all in
the email input box before. But the problem is then how they don't know that it's been delivered, right? So if something,
that's why I'm saying deliver it to themselves and then they send it over.
But they get the option to download it before they file it with the court.
All in one session then.
They could do it in one session.
So with the probate court motions, what I think they're doing that I think is good is kind of giving people an option to do the certificate of service or not, saying like, do you know, I mean, I guess in probate court, you always give notice of the hearing with your certificate of service. So it's saying, do you know when your hearing is? And if yes, then do you know when you're serving it? Something like that. And then it fills in. If not, you're filing it without serving. And I think there'll be like an instruction that's like, call the court to figure out the next steps of service and the hearing.
Right.
I think the court's just going to be different right now.
Yeah. And also it's juvenile court, and the attorney I spoke with said, well, you know, CRAs are informal. And I said, well, even if they are informal, this is what the document says. So we can't have people saying they've done it when they haven't. Yeah.
We just not service right now. I mean, that's
it would probably be appropriate to be like, if you haven't served, that part just isn't there.
The way that I've been it when I'm helping people is just at least with their forms that have a service block is to make sure that's optional.
Make sure the service is optional. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing to do is make sure it's optional. And then I think this is just what we'll flag when we put it to the court for their review. We'll say, here's what it is. We made this so that it was optional, given our understanding that we didn't want people to do this X, Y, and Z, and the expectation that they would be contacted by the court within a day to make sure everything's okay. Is that right? And they'll say yes or no, and they'll let us know what they want.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, because we're going to be doing this with a number of forms, it would make sense to draw up an instruction sheet for our users to go with the form. So if they email it to themselves, they'll get an instruction sheet. Here's your form. Call the court and ask them, or, you know, if we could have a fairly generic instruction sheet that we could adapt depending on the form for people, right? Is that?
I think so.
I like that idea. I think we just have to be conscious of the fact that different courts may handle things differently. So we've got to make sure we think of that.
Right. I think it's never going to be wrong to say, if you haven't heard from the court in 24 hours, call the court, like in big flashing letters. Because I think a lot of pleadings are just kind of going into like an abyss right now.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, you can't file this. Maybe you can't file this without saying that you've served it.
Except I think we're saying that there should be an option such that you can, and that we'll put that to the court as part of our
I see what you're saying.
question, and they'll either say yay or nay one way or the other.
Okay, so I think we need the answer on that before Nick and Jack can finish their.
Well, except I think that sequencing wise, we're not going to get an answer on that until we give something for the court to review.
Okay.
So what they should do is they should build something that has the "Have you done" service.
Okay.
And if you have, it does that. If you haven't, then that part is not there.
Right. Right. very confusing for our users because, you know, you serve somebody that you're about to file a motion with no hearing date.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's,
gonna
I'm just, yeah,
put a little, just, is this a conversation to continue at another time, or is this something to,
I don't know.
like, is this something to have a separate meeting about?
I don't think it needs to be a separate meeting as long as the group now can just build something that makes it optional. And what we're doing basically is we're putting off the decision because we're not the ones to make the decision. The court's the one to make the decision. So we just build the thing based upon what we have now. We put it to the court and then they will make a decision. So the point is that just because of the way our relationship with the court works, I don't expect them to be, I don't expect to be able to just shoot an email over and say, hey, what do you want to do? And then be able to tell me. I only expect them to be able to act if we have something concrete in front of them and say, is this okay? In which case
So
they
I
will
guess
say
what
yes
I'm
or no.
saying is right now during the stand-up, is this something to discuss, or is this something to discuss separately about the form?
Because I think everybody who has something that they need to file that has an affidavit of service or a certificate of service needs to be able to make it optional for now so that we have something to show the courts.
Yeah, I think that's all we need to do is just have that part be, if you have a certificate of service, it says, have you served? And if you say no, you don't fill it out. And if you do, if you say yes, you have. And then we'll have to go back in and backfill with whatever is the appropriate language based upon what the court tells us.
Okay.
But yeah, unfortunately, just our relationship with the court is such that I do not anticipate being able to integrate them at this time. They'll need to see something.
Yeah, I think that's fine. We just need, for our people who are doing all these forms, we need to know, they need to know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and it should just be, have you filed? Yes, and have you served? Yes or no. If you have, go through as if there is the certificate attached. If you haven't, just it's not there.
And then we also could have some sort of generic explanation.
That's completely clear. Oh, for our group, we could work on that.
Nick, are you muted? Are you trying to speak?
That was helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I'm just conscious of people's time. It's 1 minute to 1. Does anybody else need to add anything?
Yeah, I have a little update.
Oh, let's hear from you, Lily. Go.
All right. I just show you, it's the date issue that I had the other day. Thanks to everybody's help, especially Jonathan. So now the date is working. I can show you what I have, but I need your input and to see which one you like better.
Okay.
Okay. So here is one output. You can see it's 2 lines. Okay. Here I say, okay, I'm going to change it to a different one. It still gives me 2 lines. There's plenty of space behind it. It just doesn't run it into the same. So they finally I tried a short format. Now it's 1 line, but it's only 2 digits for the year.
Oh, okay.
You see, so I don't know which one you like better.
So it's between the 2 digit for the year or the written out.
Right. Yeah. It's
the probate financial statement, right? Right.
This is any date field.
But this is is this overflow for the financial statement?
I'm building a
template.
Template, yes. Anyone can use it.
Okay. This would be sort of your generic addendum. It's a generic addendum. I mean, Lily, she started with the financial statement, but this would be for any form that has an addendum that needs a date, a table. It's a table and a date, right, Lily? Or is it just a date?
It's a DA list. So in the list, you could have 1 field or 5 fields, whatever. If one of the field is a date, then you are going to encounter this.
Okay, so what I think we should do is you should show up document 12 and document 22. Those are the ones that are the options, right, Lily?
You got 3 options.
Well, I don't think that, is this an option though, this one? Because I think that that's the option.
That's option 1, that's option 2, that's option 3.
Right. Okay. So I think what we should do is we should take a vote. People who don't have their cameras on, you can put your thumbs up. Does everyone knows how to do that? Right. So let's go have a look at option 1. If you vote for option 1, having seen all the options, okay, Nick loves it. Okay, 2 thumbs up from Nick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I count you twice, Sinead? Okay, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got 5 for option 1. Is somebody keeping track of these? Because Kate's gonna keep track. Or Vinny's gonna keep track. Wait, Vinny, do you like it or are you keeping track?
No, I like it.
Okay, 6. Okay. Wait, you like this one? Option 2.
Wait, we're on option 2.
Option 2. So it is the year cut into 2 lines.
I don't like it. No one likes this one.
I don't think nobody likes.
Okay, and then document this one. Right, who votes for this one? Michelle, you can't vote twice.
What? Why not? I'd be okay with either of them.
5, 6.
To be fair, you didn't say you couldn't vote twice.
Oh, no. Jack, Tyler, Amvita, what are you guys voting? Do you guys like this one?
I like 3.
I think I like the look of the first one better, but I think I like this one better because some people put month, day, year, and some people put day, month, year. So I think this one, as much as it's not as pretty as the first one or clean as the first one, I think this one probably is better.
I mean, years always last. So, but yeah, like saying the actual month is much more helpful than.
Especially for people like Finola and Sinead, right? It's in Ireland, it's day, month, year, right? I swear to God, I missed 3 flights in the States when I was there because I booked the wrong dates. I called it like the third time I was calling American Airlines. I was like, guys, this is me again. I'm so sorry.
This is why it really should always be year, day, month.
Yeah, that's ISO date format.
Wait a minute, you don't mean year, day, month. You mean year, month, day, don't you?
Right.
That's not what I said. I meant year, month, day. Yes.
And total is month, day. Always 0 padded. That's it.
Okay.
This is from Massachusetts courts, right?
Well,
I have to agree. This is like for an American audience.
Right.
No, it's not an American audience, right? It's not an American. Right? If you're filing, that doesn't mean you're an American.
Oh, but I think
if we're making it a module that is flexible for like anybody to use with DocAssemble, right? Like, or at least that's what I understood the point of the module was, but maybe I'm incorrect, so that's fine.
Caroline's point is also well taken, which is that we want to be culturally sensitive to those individuals who may be in the States but are not from the States. And it would be horrible if someone were, say, here and booking flights and missing them because they use the wrong format. So imagine, take that and make it,
perjuring
take that and make it a court date. Yeah, take that and make it a court date. So
perjuring themselves, yeah.
I would go for lack of ambiguity, which is probably the least ambiguous.
I changed my vote.
All right, so it's the long version. That's
right,
what everybody
so
knows.
it's the last option. Right, guys? Yeah.
And I mean, if you think about it, most legal documents have the word spelled out. You know, when you get an order from the court, or most of them have the month spelled out, don't they?
But you wouldn't on a table like this.
No, not on a table. It's true.
I mean, my vote remains on option
number 1.
Because that is how you would do a financial document like this.
Don't we, in the prompts, we ask people for the date in a way that would be ambiguous, correct?
It would not be ambiguous.
David. Yeah. If you use the date selector.
Not ambiguous.
You know what? It depended.
Yes.
When I was testing. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That was okay.
No, when I was testing, it was interesting. Like when I was testing in Google Chrome, it always gave me the button to pick the day in the calendar. But in Safari, it let me type in the date. And I just habitually do day, month, year, but I always write the month out, and it took it and let me write it the way that I write it.
Ah, that's interesting. I thought that the calendar would always show up. It's not the case then.
All right. I know I've been outvoted, but I will just voice my objection and my reasoning. which
Okay,
is
let's hear
that
it.
these are documents we are generating for a judge. And I think part of how you present information for a judge is in the cleanest, simplest way that a judge can glance quickly at. Judges do not, judges want to be able to glance quickly. And I think the first format is what judges are accustomed to seeing, and it makes the table the most readable, I imagine, to a judge. I understand that I have been outvoted, but I am voicing
that's a good
that
point.
reasoning.
That's a good point. And I think
don't give up the ghost yet, Kate. It's not done.
To David's point, if as long as we ask it in a clear, unambiguous way, if this is just the presentation of what they've input, they'll understand what they right. Most people will understand, like, so maybe
That's
it doesn't
a good
matter.
point. Yeah.
There's a totally different issue, which is that somehow the fields are getting cut in half. Like the cells of the table are getting cut in half, and that might be something to discuss later, but that's separate from this question.
Are we gonna re-vote?
I think maybe Lily, maybe Michelle's point is that maybe we can help you solve that problem, Lily, if we see the template.
But
might be a little weird bugaboo in the formatting, but I'm not sure.
That's actually that's separate from the problem of, like, do we want to be clear about the month and the day? I think it's still a separate question. I just think that this one might be solvable. This part of it might be solvable.
I mean, this might also be something that we do one way and change, because as you say, David, we're going to submit these to the courts. And
that's true.
And I mean,
true.
that would address, I really think that Kate's got a valid argument there.
Shall we try submitting to the courts with the month spelled out, and then if they have a problem with it, they can tell us and we can change it?
Well, I think we would ask them.
I think I'd rather opt for send it to the one that they're more likely to take. And
well, because otherwise we won't ever get a chance to try the month one.
No, but I think if they want it this way, then that would be fine. My main concern is about the ambiguity of the person entering the date. As long as we've captured it unambiguously, then at the end it's going to someone who's going to have a consistent reading. I do think a judge would read this consistently. So it's really about the ambiguity on the input end.
I think that's right, because I'm sort of thinking that people need to be able to read and understand what they've submitted. On the other hand, there are a lot of we're not trying to make ultimately the form understandable to the user, right? We want, as Kate's saying, we want the judges to be able to read it quickly and easily.
I agree.
Because they do not spend a lot of time looking at financial documents.
At all, right?
Right.
So then it really doesn't matter, since they look at these anyway.
Just to note that we are being recorded, as always.
They're very busy.
Okay, they're very busy, yeah.
Too busy to hopefully watch these. Okay, so so just the upshot of all of this kind of conversation is
that we're going to use the shorter
we can vote again
form.
Or go Kate's.
I would just like to point out, I actually did not vote the first time.
Form.
I would just like to point out.
What?
I did not actually vote the first time.
Okay. Nice, David.
I'm trying to say we should revote.
Okay. Oh. I think we've determined that it's not about a vote. This is about whether the court will read it. So I mean,
that's correct. But the question is, have we convinced everyone?
So so how I think the proposal is that we use option one. However, making sure that on all the forms that the entry for the date is unambiguous and it's very clear and easy for people to make sure they're selecting the correct date. If anyone disagrees with that, speak now or forever hold your peace.
So
and as Kate has made clear, we can be persuaded.
She's such a good lawyer.
Okay.
And I think we should still try to solve the problem. I think if we use this format, we can make it less ambiguous if we can figure out how to fit those 2 extra digits.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's sorted. Lily, thank you so much for all the work you've been putting into that.
Yeah.
Really, it's looking so good. I think it'll be a huge help when we have those overflows. So now we're already 11 minutes over.
All right, I'm going to stop recording.
Friday.